All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome everyone to a special edition of Chain Fusion Ecosystem Live. I'm joined with my co-host Radu from the growth team at DFINITY. Radu, how are you doing?
Hi. Very good, very good. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, no, well, thank you. So, some quick background for everyone tuning in. DFINITY has just released the ecosystem report for 2024 for Chain Fusion. Features a lot of great content from the projects building on ICP. And so, Radu, my thanks go to you for kind of spearheading this effort and getting that report live. And so this is a celebration of that report being live now. We'll go into details of how you can get access to it, where you can find it, as well as some of the content that's in it. You're going to hear a lot from this live stream from the projects that are actually building Chain Fusion apps that are on the bleeding edge of technology within our industry. But I'm getting ahead of myself, so let me take a step back and ask Radu, can you give us some background on the report, on this ecosystem report, and maybe some of the highlights that that you want to make sure everyone knows about?
Yeah, thank you very much, Kyle. Yeah, I think that like the most important thing was that it was so fun to put together, and it was so fun to realize like how many things are happening regarding Chain Fusion inside our ecosystem, and that's kind of the essence, and that's why we wanted to have this ecosystem report, because it's very easy to kind of get lost inside our ecosystem, like with all the things that are happening. So I think it's very important to kind of have things in one place where we can have a look and celebrate and see the amount of activity that is happening around Chain Fusion. And I think what was also special for me was the fact that a lot of the ecosystem teams contributed to this report. So you will see thought leadership articles, you will see analysis articles coming from various teams. So, for example, you can read about runes as written by Lewis from Omnid. You can read an interesting analysis on Bitcoin mining from Andy from Local Mining, and a bunch of other stuff. Also written, for example, Bob Bodley contributed a lot to this report. So yeah, so overall, I would like to thank our ecosystem, first of all, for contributing to this report, and second of all, for being such a cool ecosystem to write about. It's like if you go through it and you see just how much activity is happening, be it on the Bitcoin side or on the EVM side with with teams kind of like using ICP as an infrastructure layer, or using ICP to bridge assets from one ecosystem to another. Yeah, I think it just shows how far we've come since the early days of CKBTC.
Oh, those seem like a lifetime ago. Yeah, I think just to echo that, thanks. Because if you read the ecosystem report, you're going to see a lot of articles written actually by the projects who are building Chain Fusion apps. There's not a whole lot of content from DFINITY, which I love because two reasons. A, you get to hear it from the builders themselves and the people who are really actually pushing the envelope on technology. But B, I actually learned a lot just in terms of, you hear about these either meta protocols that are happening, or changes in trends that are happening within Bitcoin or Ethereum, and so it really helps get out of the ICP bubble and learn more about other chains and kind of like what their needs are. If you're interested in getting that report, the report is live now. Let me just show you real quickly. If you go to internetcomputer.org/ecosystem, you also find a link to the ecosystem up here on the menu. Right here, go ahead and download that report. And it's got 47 pages of just jam-packed information, great articles. We also have a little bit of charts for you if you're into charts. Radu, just curious, what were one or two surprises or highlights as you were putting this together? Was there anything that kind of struck out at you as oh wow, this is something I really didn't appreciate until I saw it in print and in writing?
I mean, the stats and the fact that while working on this report, the blockchain on blockchain narrative emerged. I think that was a very interesting twist to Chain Fusion, in my opinion, because it was something that I wasn't expecting at all, and something that I think it just shows how fun crypto is, and it just shows how cool things can be done while working with cool tech. I think that was one of the things. The other one is yeah, as I mentioned before, like just the variety of projects and how they span like it's not a concentrated bunch of projects. If you go through the report, it's not like everybody's focusing on one thing. It's like from Bitfinity, who is building an EVM in a canister, to Tap Protocol, who is a meta protocol on Bitcoin and is using ICP, and we'll hear from them as well. To yeah, I don't know, Omnid and some other cool projects that are utilizing ICP in a novel way.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, really great stuff here. Let me pull off. So just in terms of how this live stream is going to go, we've got 9 phenomenal projects that are going to be basically giving you a pitch on what they're building. And then we're going to have 5 minutes for each project to just answer questions, either from myself or for Radu. Although preferred, we prefer to get questions from the community. So as you're watching, if you're watching this live, either on X or on YouTube, feel free to post a comment in the comment section, or on X, just a comment to the thread that this is streaming from. And if we like the question, we're going to go ahead and ask it. Before we jump into our first project, Radu, anything else we should clarify before we bring Bitfinity up?
Yes, the last project is a surprise, and they are going to make some interesting announcement. So everyone, stay tuned up until the very last project, because it's going to be fun.
I know the guest list. Even myself, I've been in I'm deep into Chain Fusion, and some of these are like people I didn't realize were building on ICP until the ecosystem report started getting put together. So, which is phenomenal. So you're going to hear from a few projects who presented at the Bitcoin halving live stream we did. You'll hear updates from them in terms of what new things they've built since then, since we've had about 6 months that have passed. But we also feature a lot of new projects to Chain Fusion. And so let's jump straight into it. I'm going to bring Max from Bitfinity on up. Max, how are you doing?
Hi, guys. Yeah, I'm doing good. Thanks.
Hi, Max.
You hear us fine?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's all good where we are.
Awesome. So Bitfinity has obviously been building on ICP for a while now. You guys have recently gone live, and so actually, let me not steal the credit. Let me let you. So go ahead, jump right into what is Bitfinity, and give us the pitch.
Yeah. So Bitfinity is an EVM solution for Bitcoin and cross-chain tokens built on the internet computer, and essentially what it is just a high-performance EVM which leverages a lot of the IC's infrastructure, because it's built within and deployed within a canister for its performance, and also benefits from all the recent advances in Chain Fusion for bridging. So the idea is that you can bridge your Bitcoin, your Ethereum tokens, and also new tokens in the Bitcoin ecosystem as well. Well, I say new, but fairly new, like runes and BRC20s and anything else that will manifest later over to Bitfinity. And we have our TGE approaching very soon, so that it will be on November the 19th. So that's a date to put in the calendar. It's been quite a while coming, but we're very glad and excited to actually be able to put the protocol out there and into people's hands. If you're a developer, you can already start deploying on Bitfinity mainnet right now, and we have a number of applications from the IC ecosystem and also outside who are deploying.
Awesome. Are there any projects do you want to go through, or are you guys kind of keeping a tight lip on who's building on Bitfinity?
Yeah, there are a few. So there are a few projects. So Omnid, shout out to those guys. They've already deployed a runes and ICP bridge to Bitfinity. So you can already move over runes tokens to the Bitfinity EVM through them. And also you can bridge over a number of ICP tokens too. So the runes bridge, of course, is using chain fusion and all that technology to decentralize the bridging. We'll also have open sourced a framework for Ethereum bridges. So you'll be able to very soon move Ethereum tokens over to Bitfinity too. In terms of dexes, of course, we have Sonic coming up on November 19th. They're going to be deploying a DEX protocol for mainnet. They have something deployed in testnet currently. And we also have a couple lending and borrowing protocols as well that are keen to deploy. So there's Finterest, DFINITY, who definitely have some interesting things coming out around the same time. And let's not forget ChapSwap as well, who've been there right from the beginning with the DEX. I think that's a fork of Uniswap v2 or PancakeSwap. Sorry, PancakeSwap.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting, and I think it's something that the community has been waiting for quite some time. So I'm super excited to see the amount of protocols that we'll be building on top of Bitfinity. But yeah, I'm curious to hear from you what is the one thing that you're super excited about, like coming into hopefully a DeFi winter on Bitfinity. So what excites you about what comes after the TGE? Because I'm sure that TGE and everything else is going to be a stressful time for you guys.
Yeah, TGE can be quite a hectic time. Definitely the run up to it, just making sure everything is in place, because you have to work with the exchanges to make sure all the arrangements are in place, partnerships, the ecosystem of dApps, both in the IC and beyond, that all has to be ready. Performance tuning as well, airdrop to try and encourage people to come over. So we've got an airdrop program called Bit Gems, which you should also check out if you're interested in the ICP community. If you raise sort of social engagement and awareness on Bitfinity, and also move over some ICP tokens to the Bitfinity EVM mainnet, you'll be eligible, or those are some of the criteria to be eligible for the airdrop program. So that's definitely one thing to look out for. I'm just very, very excited about how the whole Bitcoin space is progressing right now. We've got, of course, there's a huge amount of developments in meta protocols on Bitcoin, and I think that's going to be a source of like new tokens that can be bridged over and used in DeFi applications on a layer 2. There's a real need for that, because obviously it can be quite a difficult user experience on Bitcoin itself. And what we've seen with Ethereum pushing forward the L2 narrative to help solve its scaling issues and challenges is that the same thing can be true for Bitcoin. And there's still a lot of excitement and engagement with tokens on Bitcoin itself. And I think we've been waiting a long time for have lending and borrowing. It's great to hear that we've got 2 dApps that are ready to go on Bitfinity for November the 19th, which will definitely enhance also the IC ecosystem.
I love it. So talking about Bitcoin L2s, because I mean, Bitfinity really is a Bitcoin L2, and you guys have done a great job of, whenever you see, partners put out like Bitcoin L2 landscape things, you see Bitfinity right there, which so you guys have done a good job getting noticed outside of, in the Bitcoin L2 space. I saw a stat, this is a couple of months ago, there's now like 80 Bitcoin L2s in different phases of, some are still real early and, more white paper-ish. And then you have other ones like Bitfinity, which is now live. And out of those like 60% were like EVMs. So it's becoming a crowded space. Like, what is Bitfinity? Like, what are your guys' argument for like, your competitive advantage that's going to make you stand out versus those other, couple dozen L2 EVMs?
Yeah, that's a great question, Kyle. And I think the benefits, okay, the first is obviously the speed and scalability. Leveraging infrastructure on the IC, you're starting to see closer to Solana level performance on an EVM because of the dedicated hardware nodes that are running. And these aren't just like consumer laptops. These are real hard, heavy duty node machines, costing thousands of dollars in hardware, which really underpin the security and speed scalability of the internet computer. It's the same thing that's going to be powering Bitfinity, which is running on its dedicated subnet. Beyond speed scalability, obviously Chain Fusion is a really powerful decentralized bridging primitive. Threshold signing with key shares split amongst around upwards of 28 nodes. That's sort of unparalleled when you look at how effective the decentralization of different bridges and threshold signature schemes are. So to have 28 plus entities signing, and also having it like as an open protocol where signers can be evicted if they're stale and not doing anything. That's pretty unique when it comes to actually bridging. And I think Bitfinity being an EVM, supporting Bitcoin and runes as a layer 2 and leveraging IC infrastructure really is at the confluence of 3 really major ecosystems, which will definitely lead to and drive further growth on Bitfinity.
I loved the you basically said Solana's UX with Ethereum's DevX, all for Bitcoin, right?
that's great phrase. We should use that actually. I hope you don't mind us borrowing it.
I work on royalty, so
okay.
Now you've mentioned meta protocols like BRC20s, runes. We're going to talk to some more projects today who are also building meta protocols on Bitcoin. Is that a differentiating factor for you guys as well? I don't know of any other EVM Bitcoin L2 that can even, that could do like an inscription or like a mint command or anything like that.
Great point. And I don't want to take material away from some of the others who'll be joining. Like Omnid, I think they've done a huge amount of awesome work in this area. Yeah, for sure. Integrating these different meta protocols is one thing. Being able to bridge them. If you look at most of the so-called Bitcoin layer 2s, they're actually very scant on details as to how they actually bridge from the Bitcoin main chain to the EVM. And of course, that is a massive omission for a lot of the protocols. If you don't have those technical details, then who knows really what is underpinning the security of bridging those assets. And I think one of the most interesting things I've seen is the idea that you can actually replicate some of these meta protocols, for instance, for indexing runes on chain, and and doing that all from within a canister and decentralizing that adds a great deal to the security. And decentralization is a tenet that we take seriously. We're in the blockchain space, so I think it's a big question mark that other layer 2s have to answer, but we have a ready-made solution for.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think a lot of them go the trust me bro route with the bridging. So
it works only so far, until it works, until it doesn't work.
I mean, for bridges, it's not a matter of if they get hacked, it's when. So
yeah, I know also we talked internally at DFINITY, and I've talked with multiple players, both in the ICP ecosystem and in the meta protocol, Bitcoin meta protocols ecosystem, about the idea of ICP as a data availability layer, right? We could take the entire Bitcoin state at this point and put it in a canister. And so you could almost have this, decentralized indexers, decentralized data availability for Bitcoin on ICP, which I think would probably also be an area that developers, a Solidity developer might be interested in building applications that can leverage that. So you guys are well positioned for the Bitcoin renaissance, that's for sure.
For sure.
All right, we're coming to the end of your 10 minutes. And in terms of how people can get more information on Bitfinity, give us, where can they find you guys?
Yeah, follow us on Twitter. That's BitfinityNet. You can check out our website, bitfinity.network, and also our airdrop program, bitgems.xyz.
Awesome. I love it. And the English in you comes out with the Z.
Yeah, it was always there.
Right. Thank you, Max. And good luck.
Yeah,
good luck with the DG.
Yeah, congratulations on your guys' success. Good luck.
Cheers.
Thanks. And yeah, speaking of lending and borrowing,
let's move on to the next one. That's a great segue. Bruno, how are you doing?
Hello, everyone. Good to be here.
Hi, Bruno.
Bruno, it's always a pleasure to speak with you. You're a ball of energy, although I know we're catching you really late your local time. So I appreciate you staying up late and joining us on this call.
It's okay. Crypto never sleeps.
It's GM.
Bringing some energy.
That's why it's always GM, right?
Yeah, exactly. For me, should be a GM right now, but let's go for the GM.
Well, Bruno, give us the lowdown on DFINITY.
Okay, so first of all, guys, thank you so much for having me here. I'm very happy to be sharing what we are building on the internet computer, and we are about to go live. So very soon you're gonna see what DFINITY is, and you can also actually test it. So the way I like to start every time I talk about DFINITY, if we are in a pitching contest, usually you always start a good story with once upon a time. In this case, instead, it is once in a blockchain opportunity. Why? Because what DFINITY is doing is actually leveraging an exceptional opportunity that is existing at the moment on the internet computer. We know that the ICP, it's recognized for innovation, technology, intrinsic security, and this is all features that we want to see on a chain on which we are building. But we know that the DeFi TVL is very limited still at the moment, but we are about to change it. How? By bringing a new protocol, something that is a new innovative lending and borrowing that is fully built on the internet computer. Now, before to start to build DFINITY, what we did, of course, we studied from the best. We understood what were the best practices in the niche of the lending and borrowing. And we understood that the wheel didn't need to be reinvented, but of course it could be improved. And the way we are improving it, it's by using the technology that is provided by the internet computer. So some of the unique features that DFINITY is bringing is a unique buyback and burn mechanism. We have new innovation liquidation strategies that it's something unheard of, and that it's something that is possible only on the internet computer. So far, liquidation on other lending and borrowing, how it works. It works that there are third party or bots that are going to liquidate your position. Instead, what we are doing, we are leveraging the functionality of the smart contract canister, and through certain functionalities, we are able to go and perform liquidation on our own. So in this way, we are able to retain 100% of the fee that naturally instead need to be shared with third party. And then, of course, we are coupling all this with initiatives that are thought in a way to bring new community and also to bring that needs that the ICP community is needing. So one thing that we have to think is that the DFINITY protocol is going to launch in 2 phases. So we're about to release the phase 1 that is going to be pure lending and borrowing, where there will be no token. So there will be just the pure functionality where you can provide supply, you can provide collateral, you can do borrowing, and then there is going to be the liquidation that is going to be performed. Then in phase 2, what we are going to do is that we are going to introduce the token, and together with the token, we bring the buyback and burn mechanism. And of course, we are integrating all the new functionalities that the token will bring, and that will incentivize users to use the platform. Now, usually, what is happening on this kind of project when you're building is that, of course, you are facing a lot of issue, but we've been able to go through over these challenges, and at the moment, we are in a stage where we are building our testnet. So we've been able to replicate and create a replica of the CKBTC, CK8, CKUSDC, CKUSDT, and also ICP. So we have a faucet inside the testnet where you can have token. Of course, the amount that you can withdraw is going to be limited. Otherwise, people will go and withdraw whatever amount they want, and this will not be realistic in terms of how the platform is going to perform, in terms of users' actions that are going to be replicated. And then our stage right now is we are finishing the last testing regarding the testnet. In the moment we will go live, we will also launch a bounty. And then we are going to incentivize users to come and test the network, to give feedback regarding the whole platform, finding bugs, but at the same time also regarding UX and UI. And we are going to reward these early users with a double airdrop compared to the airdrop that they are going to get in the moment the testnet is going to be finished. Because once the testnet is over, we are going to go live on the mainnet. And at this point, every dollar that you are putting into the platform, you are going to receive points a point. So this point system then is going to be converted into an airdrop of the DFINITY token that will arrive only in phase 2. So our goal is to go live with the testnet by the end of this month, if everything works good. So finger crossed also for us. And right after, you are going to see the live function, the live platform that will go live probably until the end of the year, for then doing the TGE during Q1 of 2025, considering all the additional functionalities that we need to bring on board.
Awesome.
And this is it. Hope I've been able to make it clear and make people excited about what is coming.
Yeah, so if I understand correctly, so basically what you're bringing on chain is also like this relayer network, because most of the lending protocols, they rely on a quasi-centralized relayer network that basically needs to monitor the positions and needs to monitor the prices. I think that's a super cool use case for ICP to bring in the relayer networks on chain. I think that's super useful.
And this is possible only on ICP, because this is a functionalities that we can bring on only thanks to the way that the smart contract work on ICP. This is something that you cannot do anywhere else.
Yeah, because you need two things to converge. One is monitoring, so basically HTTPS outcalls, monitoring price feeds, monitoring how the price of an asset fluctuates, and then the other one is and the other one is signing and having this multi-chain capability. Yeah, and tell us a bit about your multi-chain plans, actually.
So this is going to be the phase 3. So basically, we can say that we are going to be already phase 1, because the platform is not going to work that you can provide as an asset only ICP token. We are going to start with CKBTC, CKETH, CKUSDC, CKUSDT. And then along the way, while we move forward, what we are going to do, we are going to ask feedback from the community and see which other coins they want to bring on board. And we know that this, thanks to the chain fusion technology, it's something that can be super possible. So this means that the amount of token that will be available, it's going to increase along the way. But of course, all of these need to be vetted by the community. And of course, it needs to have like also a certain liquidity and credibility as a token to be present in a lending and borrowing. Otherwise, the risk of liquidation is going to be very, very high if it is a too much volatile asset.
And just as a curiosity, will you have like bribe markets and cool stuff that people can utilize the governance token for?
So we are thinking about this, and probably this is something that we are going to release with the phase 3. But we are keeping it like we don't want to overpromise. So one thing that we are doing, and for everyone that is not following us, you can follow us on X. You can see that we are being very transparent regarding what we are doing. So every week we are publishing also all the technical update on what is happening, on how the platform is being built. Also, so in this way, our community can feel that we are working for this, that we are bringing a result. We are also showing what are our challenges. So if there is something that is stopping us, because also this is going to be a good feedback from the community. But just for you to understand how much we believe in this project and how much we know that the community love what we are building, just for you to have an idea, in the moment we announced this in March, that we were going to build a lending and borrowing on ICP, we launched a quick campaign with just a few influencers, just one actually, and we asked what people thought and if they wanted to be early users of the platform. We collected in 48 hours 5,000 wallets.
Wow, very good. I know
This
we're running
only
out
in
of
48 hours.
we're running low on time. I want to make sure you have time to tell everyone where to get more information. And I'm making a mental note, Radu, that I need to ask you off air what exactly a bribe market is. So don't let me forget that. Bruno,
Yes.
tell us where we can find more information on DeFinance.
So guys, please follow us on DeFinance_app on X, formerly known as Twitter. You can check us out also on our website, DeFinance.app, even if at the moment you are not going to have the link sending you to the testnet. But just follow us on X. You can join us also on Telegram. You can find us DeFinance_app also there. And wait for the update. Stay tuned. And we are super active and we can't wait to go live and show you what we've been building so far.
That's awesome. Good luck with the testnet and the TGE in Q1. It's going to be awesome.
Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Bruno.
Bruno.
Have a nice evening.
Ciao. Bye.
Bye. All right, moving right on. Let's bring up Lewis from Omnid. Lewis is you were on our Bitcoin halving special, so I welcome Omnid back to the stage. Give us the update since April of what Omnid has been up to.
Yeah, starting from there, Omnid as a interoperability hub built on Chain Fusion, majorly serve Bitcoin Eco. We keep expanding in two dimensions. One is adding more blockchain. So for now, we support EVM compatible blockchain, Cosmos chain with Cosmos some support, Solana chain, and now of course SAP itself, and all the, let's say, blockchain on blockchain on ICP, Bitfinity, and potentially others providing their programmability. And in terms of asset class, we start with runes, and then we work with DeFiNITY Foundation to bring CKBTC to Osmosis chain. So now we can our offering include BTC, and the newest asset class is BRC20. And we are happy to expand to BRC20, and it's enabled by Chinky Schnorr, the cutting edge technology provided by Chain Fusion. And so yeah, once again, it's the first and only fully on-chain BRC20 bridge without rely on off-chain indexer or off-chain relayers.
That's amazing. I'm not sure. I think you kind of undersold. I mean, if you go to, I think is it hubs.omnid.network or hub? Well,
the bridge is bridge.omnid.network.
Okay. Yeah, I was playing around 2 weeks ago on there and just bridging back and forth between different protocols, and it's just a phenomenal experience. And the amount of chains that you are currently integrated with is just incredible. So really see, like, I guess the play there is, you guys want to be a layer for liquidity to move back and forth between different chains, correct?
Oh yes. So the Bitcoin is let's say the biggest crypto asset class and also the mother chain, but it's still limited in terms of programmability and performance. And so where the other blockchain, including Bitcoin Layer 2, can play a role. So, but the interoperability, the essential part of this paradigm. So you have to, let's say, move your Bitcoin asset securely to the fast and programmable execution chain, and play with all kinds of protocol there. So I think Omnid based on Chain Fusion will play I would say a central role in the Bitcoin ecosystem expansion.
I think it's very interesting, and earlier when Max from Bit Omni was from Bitfinity was here, we were discussing about the number of Bitcoin L2s and kind of what is happening. So I think it's an interesting comparison when you're comparing like what is happening in the Ethereum world versus Bitcoin, and I think that like we're seeing in the Ethereum world. Like the pitfalls of so many L2s going in and siloed liquidity and so on. So I think like one key element that I would bring here as a key difference between like the two big ecosystems is the fact that it seems that projects like Omnid kind of start with interoperability in mind, so that because to a certain extent, if you get to a point where liquidity is siloed in 1 or 2 or 3 L2s, that's a bit too late to kind of think of interoperability. While if you start with interoperability, the moment you have so many L2s, then it's easier to kind of bridge assets, move assets from one chain to another, and it helps kind of the ecosystem maintain a sufficient degree of liquidity so that new dApps can appear, and so that innovation is funded, because liquidity funds innovation.
Oh yeah, it's a great opinion. Bitcoin and Ethereum are fundamentally different. Let's say we try to mimic the let's say roll-up centric roadmap from Ethereum community, from Ethereum, but Bitcoin layer 1 is much more limited than Ethereum layer 1, and I say there are a few possibilities. One is we follow up the step of Ethereum and see what will happen in terms of, let's say, inter layer 2 communication or interoperability happen inside Ethereum ecosystem, and then we can learn more about it. And the other possibility is we cannot skip the phase of let's say Bitcoin native DeFi or native programmability. So I know a lot of quite a few projects working on this direction, but whatever the future paradigm, I think ICP with Chain Fusion has his advantage to enable all this possible paradigm.
I love if and actually I'll bring it up. So Vivi led a panel during Chain Fusion Day in Nashville, and Louis, I know you were there. And it featured Giannis from Bitcoin Layers, and Giannis made just a great point about how Bitcoin L2s are in a position to actually learn from the mistakes made by Ethereum L2s regarding liquidity and user silos. And I love seeing what Omnid is doing, as in you guys are bringing that, you're reducing those silos. In terms of, did you want to touch on Omnid AI at all?
Not this time.
Okay.
Since it's we put a lot of energy on Chain Fusion direction, and we always try to find synergy between Omnid and other Chain Fusion family members. And I think by definition, we are ecosystem, and the program from a part will benefit the rest or us as a whole. So we are very happy to support DFINITY and also Bionics and potentially others. So if you build on Chain Fusion and you want you have some idea, especially something to do for on Bitcoin, so don't hesitate to connect with us.
I love it. I love it. You guys are bringing liquidity across the Bitcoin L2 space. You're bringing liquidity from Bitcoin to other chains like Solana and Ethereum, and then also making meta protocols like BRC20 and Runes more useful. You guys are doing a lot, and I thank you, Louis, for your time. Give a quick, before we wrap up, where can people find more information on Omnid?
Oh, our website is omnity.network, and the Twitter handle is omnity.network without dot. So yeah, please follow us. We are about to make some big announcement still on the direction of Chain Fusion, and I think it will be a game changer. Yeah.
You have to tell us more. You cannot leave it like this. No, you have to. You have to tell us more.
But it will take a lot of time, and
I think we have
it. In short, we think Chain Fusion have great potential to extend programmability directly on Bitcoin Layer 1. And there are, I think, majorly there are two ways to do that. One is decentralized indexer, or I would say, let's say, indexer expansion, indexer extension. So to add programmable environment to meta protocol indexer, but the major headache is how to decentralize indexer itself. But we have proved that the indexer can be perfectly run inside the tensor. So I think in this track, there are a lot of projects, including Unisat, Atomico, and type protocol. And I think the type protocol is the most promising one because they build on ICP. And the other way to enable programmability on Bitcoin Layer 1 is we call it multi-party transaction coordination, which means one user can engage with others to collectively sign a transaction. This transaction is a contract between user and the others. When we move all this coordination process to another blockchain, in our case, apparently ICP, we can decentralize this multi-party transaction coordination process. And on this track, I think Arch Network take the lead, but with the power from Chain Fusion, I think Omnid can take the leadership very soon.
Love it.
All right.
Love it. We'll have to get you guys on here to talk more in detail about it. There's a lot there. So Omnid.network. You guys have also launched the Hope You Get Rich Rune. And Louis, I just want to say thank you so much for your time and all the good work you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you.
And see you. And while we're bringing Ray from Bit Omni up, I just want to make a quick note because Kyle, you were asking in the beginning, like what surprised me when working on this ecosystem report. I think another cool thing is how many projects work with each other. So we've heard from Bitfinity that they are working with Omnid. Also, Omnid is working with Tap Protocol, who we'll have a bit later in the live stream. So I think like this collaboration between Chain Fusion project, I think it's super cool. But yeah, Well, welcome to the live stream, Ray. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you, Radu. Thank you, Kyle, for having me.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure. So Bit Omni is, and you yourself, Ray, are you're an alumni from the previous live stream we did. You guys were much earlier in your development life cycle back in April when we last talked. Give us the update of where Bit Omni is and what you guys are working on.
Okay, just a little bit introduction to Bit Omni. Hello, everyone. I'm Ray from Bit Omni. Bit Omni is a BTC-driven omnichain protocol. We are working on transforming the Bitcoin ecosystem by connecting it with the omnichain world. Our mission is to drive the future of BTC-Fi, unlocking the full potential of Bitcoin and, of course, its emerging assets. As many of you may know, that despite Bitcoin's dominance as the most valuable and secure cryptocurrency, it's largely isolated from the thriving decentralized finance ecosystem on other blockchains like Ethereum and Solana. And this isolation limits Bitcoin holders to using BTC primarily as a store of value or a medium of exchange, prevents them from participating in lending, borrowing, and all sorts of DeFi activities, as mentioned by, as I recall, Bitfinity. And yeah, that's kind of like a big headache now. Bit Omni addresses this challenge through our omnichain protocol and a suite of BTC-Fi dApps. Our flagship product is called Bit Bridge. It is an omnichain bridge that connects Bitcoin and its tokens to multiple blockchain ecosystems. Moreover, it also supports ICRC token standards, enhancing interoperabilities for the internet computer ecosystem for sure. And the Bit Bridge enables users to transfer Bitcoin and ICRC tokens securely and efficiently across different blockchain networks, including Ethereum, ICP, of course, and Arbitrum, Polygon, basically all EVM compatible blockchains if we want to. And recently we just added the Sui network, and Aptos has been tackled already. If we want to integrate it, we can do it immediately. So move-based ecosystems are here already, and more. And we built it using Chain Fusion technology on ICP, leveraging Chain Fusion's interoperability features and also ICP's scalability, low transaction costs, and smart contract capabilities to enhance the performance of the Bit Bridge. So one of the key features of Bit Bridge is direct integration with the Bitcoin network. Of course, it's Bitcoin integration of ICP, right? We're using that, and by using that, our like canisters or smart contracts interact directly with the Bitcoin network, and eliminating the need for the intermediaries. So, for example, if our users bridge Bitcoin from Bitcoin native blockchain to, let's say, Sui network, we use Bit Bridge use CKBTC as intermediaries, so there's a smooth transition from BTC to we call BitBTC.Sui, which is a wrapped version of BTC on Sui network. Although because the Bit Bridge is built on IC, so it is a decentralized, trust minimized, and of course bidirectional bridge supporting Bitcoin and ICRC tokens, which I think is kind of cool. And I think the market opportunity here is significant. As the DeFi space continues to expand, there's a growing demand for integrating Bitcoin into these ecosystems. If I recall correctly, I had a slide of like market comparisons between Bitcoin and Ethereum, and also BTC-Fi and Ethereum DeFi. So it's like if we make a comparison by that, there's a potential for BTC-Fi. There's a potential $500 billion market there, which I think is huge, and I think that's just the minimum of that market size. So, anyways, looking ahead, we plan to expand blockchain support to integrate additional blockchains, further enhancing interoperabilities and providing more options for users. And we are also developing a suite of BTC-Fi applications beyond Bit Bridge, including we call it Bit Bank, which is on-chain fixed rate on-chain auction, Bitcoin lending and borrowing. And also we're gonna have BTC rate staking, which is basically building a Babylon on IC. I think it's cool. And of course, go back to our old history. We had multi-chain on-chain fund management protocol. You know, we're gonna bring that up again. Maybe put Bitcoin and its emerging Meta protocol tokens into this on-chain fund management vehicles, so users can manage their crypto assets, especially Bitcoin and its related tokens, using this multi-chain on-chain fund management system. So yeah. Anyways, we are also working hardly on community engagement. You know, it's a key part of our strategy. I see a lot of Bit Omni family members in our comment area already. Hello, everyone. Yeah, welcome. And we're building a strong community through campaigns, ambassador programs we just launched, and AMAs, and of course, partnerships with projects within and also outside of IC ecosystem to foster growth and collaborations. So as far as I see it, Bit Omni isn't just connecting Bitcoin to other blockchains. We are unlocking its full potential by making it an integral part of the Omnichain world. So yeah, I know, Kyle, you're gonna ask me, so I'm gonna say ahead, feel free to reach out to us by visiting our website at bitomni.io. So there are links to dApps and also links to our Twitter and also Telegrams. So yeah, that's it from me.
Well, extra credit for putting the website in your title name as well. That is good marketing there. Walk us through like what we could expect. Bit Omni's doing so much, and it might be hard for somebody who just listened to like all the different ways you guys are going to play a role in the Bitcoin economy. Give us kind of like over the next 6 months, what do you expect to be the main focus areas for Bit Omni?
First is still be Bit Bridge. So we just launched our mainnet beta version of Bit Bridge. Now we are contacting with more blockchain ecosystems and the projects from different blockchain ecosystem to foster collaborations. So that's one thing, and another one would be a fully on-chain Bitcoin Meta protocol indexer. So I guess Multichain also does something like that. We are doing one of our own, and we position Bit Bridge and the Bit Indexer as infra to our BTC-Fi solutions. So we have to have those, So that's another thing. And the third one, to be honest, we haven't decided yet. Maybe hear some thoughts from you guys. One would be BTC rate staking, which is similar to Babylon, and another one would be Bit Bank, which is the Bitcoin lending and borrowing protocol. So yeah, that hasn't been decided. The main reason would be like we want to collaborate, especially from outside of IC ecosystems. Some mature projects who has experience on those kind of stuff. But it's in the process of communicating. So it's gonna, the market gonna decide, or market gonna make a decision for us on that. And
this restaking direction, I think, is very interesting. Is it for Bitcoin L2s?
I think so too.
Bring economic
Yeah, I think so. I think so as well. It's gonna be a huge market. Babylon won't take it all. There's space for other projects. So maybe, yeah. And with Chain Fusion technology as the foundation, I think we don't need to, comparing to Babylon, we don't need to bootstrap our own network, right? We build our IC. We use Chain Fusion technology. We are like naturally multi-chain, inherently multi-chain, and we just need to focus on how to, build the rate staking protocol, complete the slashing and all those POS validator stuff. That's it. So that makes sense.
I love it. Especially like Babylon's become the darling of the last 12 months, or like the whole Bitcoin renaissance. Babylon's been one of the darlings of it. And so obviously a space, like you said, you don't have to bootstrap, like, you can start with a head start. And I love that you guys are focused on building out the decentralized infrastructure. A lot of people don't realize how much of the Bitcoin meta protocol, like the ERC20s and runes, and how much of that infrastructure is still centralized to certain degrees. And so I love that you guys are taking steps to decentralize it. You've already given us where to follow you, so I'll just give another shout out to follow Ray on X, and check out bitomni.io. Ray, really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Radu. Thank you for having me.
Thanks.
Awesome work.
Thanks. And up next,
thank you.
We have also an interesting project. So we'll invite Charles on stage. So tell us about Tyron DAO. You're also an alumni of the first Chain Fusion ecosystem live stream, right around the halving.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Cool. So tell us a bit about what you're building.
So we're building a Bitcoin native stablecoin, basically like a digital dollar backed by Bitcoin, on Bitcoin, and over collateralized by Bitcoin. So in this case, we're using Chain Fusion for all of the programs, smart contracts, but as the backbone of this stablecoin, kind of like abstracting the complexities away from the end user.
So what's the stability mechanism?
So it's like through over collateralization. So basically, you create like smart contract wallet that we call a safety deposit box, where you can deposit Bitcoin on mainnet. So we're testing on production at the moment on Bitcoin mainnet, and then out of that amount of Bitcoins that you have, you can print Tyron US dollars. So basically, if you have like 1,000 worth of Bitcoin, then you can print like a lower amount, like let's say 600, 700. So there is like an over collateralization ratio that enables us to say that the dollars in circulation are fully backed by Bitcoin. Something like DAI, the first stablecoin on Ethereum, using ETH for the collateral. So it's kind of like bringing back that concept. And I think it's interesting because Bitcoin then becomes like a digital gold. Now there's like more and more consensus around Bitcoin being like store of value and how it's becoming like gold. And like the old days, fiat currencies, they used to be printed out of gold. You could redeem your dollars for gold, but then a few decades ago that changed. So the idea is to bring back that concept of stability, but with Bitcoin as the new gold.
I love that talk about like fiat currencies. Obviously right now stable coins like USDT, USDC are backed by the fiat equivalent. If as an industry we ever want to get where Bitcoin is actually like true digital gold, you need you need stable coins based off of kind of pegged to Bitcoin. I think probably a lot of people might instantly think when you hear Bitcoin backed stable coin, the first thought is Luna. And kind of the collapse they had there. Obviously two different things, but walk us through like what are the differences so that people don't think this is just like Luna 2.0.
Right. So Luna was more like an algorithmic stablecoin. So you were converting an initial asset into the stablecoin. There was some sort of like transmutation between the initial asset and the stablecoin. It wasn't like you were keeping any collateral. So therefore, there was like a huge assumption of trust that people would keep wanting the stablecoin over the collateral. In our case, the Bitcoin collateral is always there. And actually, this design with safety deposit boxes, you can always check your safety deposit box and check that your Bitcoin are there. We don't mix your Bitcoin deposit with someone else's. So you can always redeem your Bitcoin. Basically, you know, coming back to this digital gold. So this is like a super important assumption that we make. The collateral is always there. It's always like decentralized and basically user owned. And then at the same time, we don't have the same kind of like risks associated with treasury bonds or trying, you know, to deal with banks or the, you know, traditional system, which these other stable coins like USDT, USDC, they ultimately rely on the government because they keep using government deposits or fiat or just like their system. What we are bringing is like a completely new system that is just dependent on Bitcoin and nothing else.
And how do you plan to basically get more adoption, get like bootstrap adoption for SUSD?
Right. Yeah. Now we have a few SUSDs around, right? So we're just calling it Tyron, just as a short name for the stablecoin, because there are a few SUSD coming out. Like stablecoins is becoming something very popular. Actually, one of the first use cases for cryptocurrencies is payments. Actually, that's how I got into crypto back in 2016, approximately. I was living in Australia. I'm from Argentina, so it was actually like difficult to move, you know, money around. It was actually kind of expensive if you had to use like Western Union or something like that. So the payments industry, that's actually like a huge market opportunity, and that's one of the first like use cases that it's kind of like viable for stablecoins. So just to keep it simple, we are going also that way, like trying to develop a payment system that is using our stablecoin for like real world cases and problems like payments, and specifically here in South America, or just like in the Americas in general, like inflation has been hitting super hard. The cost of living is increasing a lot. And that has to do also with our payment system. So if we can bring like an innovative way of paying that is like based and backed by Bitcoin, but also like super fast, given what we can do with the internal computer, that we can bring like this stablecoin that's not only backed by Bitcoin, but it also has like the speed of the internal computer. And then we can bring it like to the streets here in Argentina, in South America. Like that's our kind of like market strategy once we finish testing on production and once we are done with this phase of, you know, research and development. I'm much more interested in, you know, working with like real world problems and not just like the digital world. And I think that's also where crypto is going to be heading towards. The adoption is growing, but Bitcoin, it only has the adoption that the internet had in 1997, I think. So we're still super early. Like people on the streets, they have a problem. They know that they need like a better currency, like a better payment system. But many of them, they don't know crypto yet. They just know Bitcoin, but not really anything else. So I feel like that would be like a good strategy, just trying to have more like a grassroots movement around Bitcoin payments, you know, just something for like real world problems like inflation here in Argentina.
I love it. What's your timeline looking for like Tyron DAO? Is there any big milestones coming up?
Yeah, so right now we're still in this phase of prototyping. So we're very grateful with DFINITY and the grants program, because so far our project has been like self-funded and supported through these grants. So our plan is to finish this prototype, which is basically enabling payments using the internal computer, but that you can withdraw on Bitcoin. So basically, once you print Tyron dollars, you will be able to send them to another Bitcoin address, just like lightning speed with the internal computer. And once the recipient gets the stablecoin, they can choose to withdraw on Bitcoin. So there we are working on some sort of scalability solution that is going to take us the rest of this year to complete. And then for next year, we're thinking of doing like an airdrop for the governance token, potentially launching an SSN DAO for our smart contracts on the internal computer, which actually, at the moment they have a controller. So moving that controller to a DAO on the internal computer would also make sense for Tyron DAO. So that's also something that we are discussing. And ultimately, doing like a pre-seed round, that would be necessary for our efforts in South America.
Awesome. Where can people follow you guys to keep up to date on all this?
Yeah, so the website is tyrondao.org. There you can find our Telegram, X. We're also inviting everyone to subscribe to Tyron DAO, and then you can start receiving like all the latest news and basically participating in our airdrop. So for the airdrop, we have a few different tokens. One of them is like a Rune token that the open mint already is completed. So thanks so much for everyone that are participating in that. And then we have the BRC20 open mint, which is running right now. So one that's over, we will keep you know with the next steps for the airdrop. But if you sign up and if you start, like trying out the application at Tyron.io, you can start earning points.
Love it. Tyron.io. All right. Well, thank you so much. Awesome stuff going on. Can't wait.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you, Charles. Thank you.
Bye.
So we have just 3 more projects to go. And we are continuing with Zea. Hi, Zea.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah, it's good to see you too. I feel like I'm the only person that wasn't an alumni of the Bitcoin halving, but that's okay. That's okay.
Well, we're getting. I think actually all 3 of the final projects are newer to the ICP ecosystem. So
yes,
so you'll be in good company. Trust me.
No, that's cool. But yeah, this is the first time I'm presenting into a large group of people, so I'll just introduce myself and I'll give a little bit of background into what Bit10 is. But yeah, hello everyone. I'm Zia. I'm the CEO of Bit10, which is a decentralized asset management platform offering index funds for crypto investors. We're basically the S&P 500, but for crypto. Yeah, the idea came from it was a hackathon actually. It was at the time I was reading a book called Trillions, which is all about the rise of index investing. I pitched my idea at the hackathon. I didn't win, but I still believed in my idea, and I took it forward. A month after the hackathon, I got into a pre-accelerator called the Bitcoin Startup Lab, and in January in 2024, in the pre-accelerator, the ICP developer team gave a presentation about canisters and chain fusion technology, and me and my CTO instantly were like, we need to use this because this solves all of our problems. Before that, we were going to build on stacks, and if anyone using Clarity will know, it's not the best in the world. Let's put it that way. Anyway, so we started building Bit10 in March 2024, and we focused solely on the Bitcoin ecosystem. We released 2 index funds on testnet, Bit10.DeFi, which tracks the top 6 tokens in the Bitcoin ecosystem, and Bit10.BRC20, which tracks the top 10 BRC20 tokens by market capitalization. However, about a month ago, we ran into an issue with collateral, and we had a meeting with one of our advisors called Bob Bodley, which I think you mentioned right in the beginning. And he suggested we use something called the threshold signing subnet. We researched it and we discovered that we discussed this a bit more with the ICP developer team, and we realized, wait a minute, we can have the underlying assets as the collateral, as opposed to just a generic like a BTC or a stablecoin, which most projects do. So you know how if you buy the S&P 500 ETF, you're essentially buying a small piece of each of the 500 companies. So you have the underlying assets basically. We can do that using ICP, and it took us so long to figure it out, but we figured it out. That's when about 3 weeks ago we had a key pivot, and this is the first time we're announcing this. We're now building additional index funds, including one for the top 10 cryptocurrencies overall, and the top 10 meme coins to cater both conservative investors and very speculative investors, if that makes sense. But anyway, we're on testnet with Bit10.DeFi and Bit10.BRC20 on testnet, but it's a gated mainnet, and we're fixing our collateral with the underlying assets. That way we can move forward. However, the big feature where we realized this is still ongoing, but we're gonna make this work, and we think this is a big thing, is we're also working on a feature that will allow users to create their own custom index funds. So imagine being able to build a portfolio with 3 conservative tokens and 2 speculative ones, all across different blockchains. This kind of flexibility doesn't exist yet in the market, and we believe it will be a game changer for crypto investors. But yeah, our long-term vision is to make diversified crypto investing as simple as traditional index funds. If you're interested, check us out on our website, bit10.app, and on our Twitter, bit10 startup. But yeah, I said a lot there, so go ahead.
I love the idea that there's conservative investors in our industry.
Yeah. You know, it was so funny. I was thinking of the word to use for it. I'm like, well, if you're going to compare the top 10 and all meme coin investors as well, what should I call them speculative? That would be nice.
So obviously an index fund, and I love the fact that you guys are going to use like Threshold Schnorr to actually like take custody of the actual BRC20s or Meta or runes. So you'll create this index fund that'll have its own token, correct?
Correct. So it'll be an extension. So every single index fund will be bit10 dot wherever you want to name it. So the ones we have is bit10.DeFi and then bit10.BRC20. Currently, which is on testnet, but I think the top 10 cryptocurrencies is going to be called. This is really original. Bit10.top TOP, and the meme coin one will be bit10.meme. But essentially, we'll have a feature where you will be able to create your own index funds. I'm talking, this is quite still far away, but we realized we're just testing this out. We realized we could do this. Hopefully, no one steals our idea and puts it on mainnet. But I think we'll be able to do it before anyone else, because again, it is very complicated, but I think we'll be able to do it.
Well, where will people be able to trade the index funds then? Is it going to be just ICP, or is it going to be outside of the ICP ecosystem?
No. We're going to keep it strictly ICP in the beginning. I think probably until we have definitely for a good amount of time in the beginning. It's going to have to be CKBTC or ICP that you can buy the index fund with, just because we want it to be that way. But you'll be able to make an index fund of absolutely anything on any chain. And we didn't I don't know which developer I was talking to about this, but it took us a long time to realize that ICP is a layer 0. And it never even occurred to us. Like, I've never seen it advertised as that. I went to a Polkadot hackathon, and they're all about their layer 0. And in my mind, I'm like, wait a minute. So is ICP, but they've never advertised themselves like that. And I think you should do that. Like, layer 0 that's what allows you to build across multiple chains, and that's what we need. It's in my opinion, it's completely pointless to have one blockchain in its own ecosystem. Like, you might as well have it to interact with multiple. It makes a ton more sense.
Actually, if you're mentioning this, it's worth noting again that if you go to the ecosystem, the Chain Fusion ecosystem report, you see an article there written by Bob that you mentioned that talks exactly about the need for a Bitcoin layer 0 and how ICP fits in this. So I think it's you've hit the nail in the head with this one.
Great.
That's awesome. Yeah, we need to do better of positioning ICP as a layer 0. But that's really what Chain Fusion is about, is bringing the unique capabilities of ICP.
Yeah, and I think the 3 projects before me, or the 4 projects before me, that was their main big thing. The interoperability. I can never say that name properly, but yeah, that's a huge thing. The Chain Fusion technology is, and plus it's decentralized as well. It's a big thing.
Love it. And then, so obviously your guys' first coming up here is the launch of the first 2 index funds. Longer term, you guys are looking for user-created index funds.
Yeah, definitely. So right now we have a gated mainnet, and if users want to join that, follow us on Twitter, and there's more instructions on how you can do that, or just message us on Twitter. We'll get you through it. But yeah, within ICP are supporting us with our grants, but I think very, very soon we're going to produce a gated bit10 top cryptocurrencies, Bit10 to the top, and we'll go on from there. But there's so many things on the horizon. Like it took us so long to figure out how would we do the collateral, because I feel like every other project is just BTC or a stablecoin, and I'm like, we need to have the underlying assets. In an ideal world, it will be the underlying assets, because in the traditional finance world, the S&P 500, it's the underlying assets, and I'm like, okay, that's the collateral that we actually need, you know.
I love it. Such a good use of threshold schnorr. So give us that X handle and that website again that people should go visit.
The website is bit10.app, app, and our Twitter handle is bit10 startup, at bit10 startup.
Okay, love it. Zaya, phenomenal work, phenomenal conversation, and definitely everyone follow along, because index funds, using ICP as an index fund is just such a cool idea. So
indeed it is, and plus chain fusion technology is the game changer.
We certainly agree with that. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks, Zaya.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
And we'll continue the conversation. Moving on. Oh man, yeah. The audience already knows that tap is coming up. You got your fans are excited. Fitzy, how are you doing, sir?
I'm good. Pleasure to be here, Kyle. Like you're a legend. Really enjoying listening along as well. Great to see how many people you like.
Sorry to interrupt. I think you have some small problems with the sound. There's
maybe if the mic. I think it's just maybe pull the microphone closer or in front. Oh no! Now you're completely silent.
Yeah. So I think what was interesting is So tap protocol was mentioned just before by Luis from Omnid. So I think it's. Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, beautiful. Much better.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm not quite sure what's happening here, so I'm going to move this out of the way because that's clearly not working. So let me start again. No, I was just saying, good to be here, guys. Really enjoying listening to the conversation, watching the conversation, and just I forget the guy's name just now talking about layer zero. It's just an interesting way to frame it, because it is clearly what's great about ICP, right? Is that anybody can take something and build with that to utilize that for their own protocols and build. So pleasure to be here anyway.
Yeah, it's great to have you. And I mean, just kind of keeping with that theme, Tap and Track has built probably one of the most novel use cases I've seen for ICP technology. We had the chance to talk with Benny back a couple of months ago when you guys had the big announcement in July or August. And so walk us through, just kind of catch us up. Like, I'm not sure everyone in the ICP ecosystem, or even I'm not sure how many people know about what Tap and Track has accomplished and kind of what your vision is for the next few months and years. Before you jump into that, I did want to say congratulations on the TGE. It's been a phenomenal success as well. So awesome to see there. So give us the background. What is Tap Track, and what are you guys trying to accomplish?
Yeah, so I mean, I've started with basically a list, and then I can dig into anything more, because there's quite a lot been happening in the last sort of 18 months, and certainly in the last 6 months, especially. So appreciate the comment on TGE. We're fairly happy with that, but we're not here for a month or a week. We're here for for the next 10 years. So in terms of Tap, for anybody that isn't aware of Tap protocol, we are the most programmable L1 meta protocol. So the first to achieve Bitcoin native smart contracts directly on L1, the first to enable automated market makers, liquidity pools, and token swaps with native Bitcoin on L1, the first to have a bridge from Bitcoin directly to Ethereum using Tap tech. And that's a relatively new thing. The swaps, the AMMs, and the bridge were recently launched about in the last sort of 10 to 14 days, if not more recently. I'm losing track of time. We also were the first Bitcoin token to launch on CoinList. For anybody not aware of CoinList, they launch usually fairly big projects that you might have heard of: Solana, ImmutableX, Filecoin, etc. We have Tap enabled on or tradable on Bitcoin and Ethereum, so Uniswap, KuCoin on the Ethereum side, and things like MEXC and Gate over on Bitcoin. we're actually the first to achieve account abstraction. So advanced account abstraction, for anybody that's not aware of what that is, and I certainly wasn't until recent months, essentially abstracting away the complexity for the user. So anybody who knows Bitcoin knows that, or any blockchain, that for the user, if we think about gaming, having to, you know, microtransactions that you want to be on chain, if you have to stop and sign a transaction every single time, that's a bit of a nightmare, and it's a killer for the UX and for users. So, you know, doing that on Bitcoin before, and I believe I'm right in saying this, Ethereum's account abstraction is still in peer review to be going L1 2025. Don't have a date, but that's kind of how advanced TAP already is. And then the other main thing I mention in this list to people is TAP is not just about the tech, which is a weird thing to say, but what I'm trying to emphasize is that in terms of our proactive stance on regulation, we're already in the EU MiCA compliant. So, you know, meeting regulatory standards in the EU for transparency, disclosure, governance, and of course, consumer protection. So that's kind of a list of firsts, and it's not that first at everything, but I think it gives a good grounding for, you know, what TAP is and you know, how we're innovating on L1.
Awesome. Yeah, I loved just the getting the swap mechanism, and I'd love to go into like Taparoo as well. But getting the swap mechanism into Bitcoin mainnet completely reduces the trust assumptions that are required for Bitcoin swaps. Walk us through like what was Taparoo and like walk us through that product that launched.
Yeah, so Taparoo is they've launched multiple products. So we worked with them and built out a lot of the tech that underscores these products, right? The consumer product that you see. So the first point I mentioned is a bridge, and so the TAP to Ethereum L1 bridge enables all TAP assets to move back and forth between L1 to L1. And then I don't have an exact date, but I'm being told by the engineering team, you know, within the next few weeks, all Ethereum tokens can come back the other way. And it was interesting that you were discussing stablecoins, because of course that also means that USDT is coming to Bitcoin on TAP. So this is you know, for anybody that doesn't understand how many holders USDT has, it's in the hundreds of millions. And so in terms of that, you know, onboarding kind of event, even just a stable coin alone is a huge event for Bitcoin.
So USDT is like 60% or somewhere around in terms of the stablecoin market. So that's pretty massive, and you're bringing it to Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And I assume lending and borrowing is next, because if you're bringing stable coins, then
I mean, yeah. I mean, I kind of don't want to digress too much from what I was talking about in terms of the Taparoo, because you know what I'm like, guys, right? I'm going to start going down one road and never finish the thought and come back to it. But yes, I mean, in short, all of these things, and I think this is maybe a better summary than my list at the start. Anything you can picture, any of the infrastructure, any of the consumer behaviors, in, you know, all of these things that you mentioned there, lending and staking, you know, swapping, bridging, all of these things, TAP is enabling directly on L1, right? And so that would probably be the better summary than my intro. So apologies, but yeah.
So, I mean, but walk us through like why that's important.
Why L1? Yeah. So there's a few reasons. I was in Amsterdam. We had a fairly big activation in Amsterdam a few weeks ago at the Bitcoin conference, and I had a guy, you know, the type, like super nice guy, but fully emblazoned with Bitcoin logos. You know, it was clear. This, you know, he was a full suit, right? He looked very dapper. Not something I could pull off, but he was a self-professed Bitcoin maxi, right? And so I say this to say that he asked a lot of great questions, the questions you should be asking, right? Because I think it's still quite an abstract concept for, you know, why not L2, why L1? And I think our closing kind of minute conversation, well, more of a soapbox from me, to be honest, was just saying, look, if you build an L1, you don't have these additional trust assumptions of taking your asset and bridging it to an L2. So no wrapping, no bridging. That is what TAP is. When we say, where is it? Here? Where's the actual thing? Oh, I can't. Okay, here, right? It's a mirrored screen. Forgive me, right? When we say this is what we mean, right? So the assets are not leaving L1. The bridge, of course, means you can take them elsewhere, but the actual the actual protocol itself is L1. So there's no risk assumptions like going across a bridge, right? I think Radu, you said earlier, it's only a case of when bridges get hacked sometimes, right? So these are the concerns that people have. The miners, right? Let's not forget the miners. If you're building on L1, if you're putting transactions through at an L1 level, you are supporting the very people who allow Bitcoin to be what Bitcoin is, right? We need to increase the thermodynamic properties of Bitcoin security, as we always hear Michael Saylor talk about. And so, risk, security, more use cases for the token. If you're just a Bitcoin holder, I was saying to the gentleman in Amsterdam, there's more use cases. There's more more TVL, right? So early any TVL on Bitcoin L1 today, and again, I forget the gentleman's name from earlier who made a great point about, the opportunity, right? If you even take the 15% to market cap TVL of Ethereum, which is something like 45 to 50 billion right now, well, let's map that over 1.3 trillion. And this is only at the start of the bull, right? So who knows where we're going to be sitting in 12 to 18 months. So again, I'll stop myself because I'm ranting again, but hopefully I answered the question. L1 is incredibly significant for risk, for trust, for just everything in the Bitcoin ecosystem. So yeah, I'll stop.
I think it is an interesting conversation because I've talked with a lot of Bitcoin maxis as well, and often we're talking about ways to get yield from their Bitcoin or get they want it. They've been holding Bitcoin for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, 9 years, whatever it is, and some of them want to do something with it. But a big thing is those things you were just touching on, like, does what I'm doing support the security budget for Bitcoin, like the mainnet, right? Does what I'm doing introduce a whole nother, blockchain that carries its own trust assumptions? And, am I, they're naturally risk. It's funny to say Bitcoiners are naturally risk adverse for the most part, and rightfully so. They've survived multiple bear markets and multiple hacks and things like that. And so, so that is that other part of, like, that mainnet is important because the user base where that $1.2 trillion is sitting has these specific properties that value what you guys are doing.
That's, I mean, to be fair to me, well, to be fair to you, that was the point I didn't make, which I should have made, right? It's the ability for it to be used in other ways. However, I always caveat this with, when we're talking to people who are professed maxis, they still don't care about that, right? It's like that, telling them about all the new ways you can use their Bitcoin at that point is not how you're going to, in my experience, convince these people. They will see the impact once you have data to support that, once DeFi like we now have on L1 with TAP, and whoever might do that in the future as well. But of course, I'm very concerned with TAP, being the first and the leader. But when they see what happens with that data, quantifiable things, then they might say, okay, now I can see the benefits. But they're not just going to listen and say, hey, I'm going to be able to stake it here and earn yield in a pool here on Taparoo and go and, X, Y, and Z. They don't want to hear that. So their ears are going to be closed if you enter in such a way. It's why I always emphasize the core properties of the chain, that they love themselves. You find that common ground. And that's when you can open up real conversations with people on the sides of the fence. My experience.
I love it. What in terms of because I find this fascinating and you're just thinking through, like, the audience, like, you hear like Taparoo is a product that Tap has built and deployed, but also your activation in Bitcoin Amsterdam was focused on developers, right? And so Tap is not just you guys don't just create products, end user products, but you also have a platform for other people to come in and build products on top of. So kind of walk us through the difference between those two approaches.
Yeah, and so again, thank you for guiding me to that, because that was something I didn't mention about Amsterdam. So we held the official hackathon this year, and we were lucky enough to be able to present the awards to the incredible winners on the main stage, essentially as the closing of the conference, which was an incredible experience. And so from a developer perspective, one of the things that I will immediately mention, and I should have again already done this, but the barrier to entry for users is fairly high on Bitcoin, right? A lot of the time, but the infrastructure is coming. But the actual barrier to entry for developers, so the people that might be actually watching and listening to the stream, on Tap, you can code in a language that you're comfortable with. So I think TypeScript, JavaScript, Motoko, obviously, that a lot of your community will be aware of, Rust, Python. And so making Tap not only, listing the things that we've achieved, right, or that have been achieved by using TAP, and of course, the ICP tooling as well, right, with Chain Fusion. But it's how do we get actual builders on board, and it's reducing the barrier to entry there. So, we have a vibrant developer community. We have that on Telegram. We have that on Discord, and it's as we all know, right, without having that, you don't really get very far, because TAP is a protocol. TAP is a, for want of another word, Bitcoin software development company, right? And we can support by helping underscore and help build the tech to go into things like the first L1 swap and the first L1 to Ethereum bridge. But you need a community, right? It takes a community, I think is the phrase. And so we are incredibly developer friendly. And again, only ask anybody who's building on our protocol, because I'm not a developer, as you guys know. And so, yeah, I'll stop. But very much developer, very much developer oriented. We have to be, and Benny, the founder, is obviously very passionate about that.
I really like this point, and I think it's super important to kind of lower the barriers so that innovation can come to Bitcoin, and that this also creates like the network effects that I think the entire Bitcoin ecosystem is looking forward to.
Yeah, I mean the network effects alone is, if you think about now, even just the bridge, right? So now that, as of today, any TAP token, and we already see tokens going back and forth using the bridge. But then I mentioned in the next few weeks, all of the Ethereum tokens coming back the other way. The lack of building relatively in terms of DeFi on Bitcoin layer 1, right, is remarkably like it's zero almost to 100 compared to Ethereum. And that is an opportunity. That's an opportunity for builders, for developers, for brands, for investors, and of course for the end user. But it's absolutely huge. And it's, we talk about bridges, and I actually visualize to a lot of people who don't understand even like the concept of a bridge, if they're brand new to Web3, it's just opening a pipe between one ecosystem to another so you can come straight through. And that's liquidity, that's brain power, that's investors, that's everybody, developers, everybody. That's why it's significant. And Taproot have done incredible things already with the swap and the bridge, and they've got a marketplace and an inscription tool and staking. But again, that's one product, right? That is one. They're a core builder, right? But there has to be more. There will be more. Now you can do this. It is only a matter of time until somebody says, wait, there is now a blueprint to build a DEX, automated market makers, lending, staking. And we saw what happened on Ethereum. And so we're proud to be able to drive that to layer 1, which is, of course, what we're here to do. But yeah, thought bubble again.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, you guys are accomplishing big things, getting it on mainnet. And then, like, it's such a huge accomplishment. But then even more so, your vision lines up exactly with what I want, which is I want my mom to be using Bitcoin without her even having to like care about swaps and mainnet and the difference between a bridge and all that. So I think you guys are getting us closer to that. I really appreciate that.
No, and again, we appreciate the ICP tooling, and that's why we're here today. Just to make sure that we acknowledge the incredible things that you guys are doing.
Well, thanks, I appreciate it. That's all the engineers behind the scene at R&D, or Radu and I get to just come out and preach how much we love the tech that people are building. So
same. I'm in the same boat. It's not me, it's them.
Yeah. Fitzy, give us the where can people follow TAP? Where can they use Taparoo? Get some activations out of this.
Yeah, so the TAP website is tap-protocol.com. Our Twitter is tap_protocol. And I am just going to quickly, before I say something that I shouldn't, I'm still getting used to the new website for Taparoo, so I don't want to give a wrong address because there's a few. I mean, the handle for those guys is Taparoo Swap, so TAPAROO swap, and then they have a link tree there with all the links as well. So as I say, there's the swap, bridge, and marketplace. So I'm not going to list all of the links, but taparooswap.com I think is probably the best. taparooswap.com would be the homepage that you can direct through to the 3 products that are currently live.
Awesome.
Well, Jan said it best here. He says tap rocks and congrats on the TGE. So you guys are doing awesome work. Keep it up.
No, we appreciate that. We appreciate it. And the community is incredible. And so this is why it's great. I've only been here 6 months. And so now people are starting to see it and the community is seeing kind of where this is going. It's nice to be able to see that because they deserve it.
Good. Love it so much. Fitzy, really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks, guys.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So now, I think that everybody, or not everybody, but most of the people in the audience were looking forward to this. So yeah, we have newcomers in our ecosystem, in our Chain Fusion ecosystem. So Ashwin, tell us about Ordinox. And I think you're muted.
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for having me. And a big shout out to our community. I think they've been spamming the chat for a while now. So yeah, I mean, it was wonderful hearing about all the other startups before this. ICP and Chain Fusion as a technology is very pivotal, and we are experiencing that firsthand now. So just to talk about Ordinox. So Ordinox is an L1 built using the Cosmos SDK, and we are an interface which helps people sort of interact with hundreds of different DeFi protocols across crypto. So our one mission is to sort of be the unified entry point for DeFi, where we can sort of attract liquidity at scale and let people access DeFi without having to juggle wallets, juggle chains, without having to switch or know about these different chains at all. So that's our broader vision, and that's what we're executing at Ordinox.
So tell us how you're using the Chain Fusion technology.
Absolutely, yeah. So Chain Fusion is, we haven't announced this. This is the sort of announcement we want to sort of get across as well through this live stream. So our entire security stack where the assets are stored on the chain is basically powered by Chain Fusion. So when users create Ordinox accounts and sort of trade using their Ordinox account, all their assets are basically secured by Chain Fusion, which really helps not just like the security aspect of it, that's the obvious one, but also how easy it is for different protocols to be integrated with Ordinox with mere few steps instead of having to sort of manage our own TSS clusters, manage different nodes, and take the whole sort of thing in-house. Yeah.
Sweet. What chains are you guys focusing on? Do you have a narrow focus, or are you kind of going broad?
Yeah, so we are starting off with all chains which support ECDSA signatures. So you have the entire EVM stack, and then you have Bitcoin if you use the legacy sort of SegWit wallets, and we also have Sui which uses ECDSA. But going forward, we want to sort of expand the support to non-ECDSA signatures as well. So we have Solana, of course, in that bracket, and a few other chains. So right now it's ECDSA focused, and then we'll move broader eventually. Yeah.
Love it. Yeah, I know a lot of people are looking forward to the Solana integration with EDDSA coming up. I think that gets you Cardano as well, and basically,
is that something that's happening on Chain Fusion soon?
We're targeting. We haven't set out a date, but I know 2025 is the target year. I'll leave it there, and so the engineers don't get mad at me. Awesome. And then, so kind of walk me through who like your target audience is for Ordinox. Is
So the like as I mentioned, our main goal is to sort of attract liquidity at scale. So let people trade between different tokens across different chains without having to sort of go through the hassle. Now, this opens up the doors for two main sort of use cases or user bases. First is the no voice user who doesn't know where to start. They can, of course, start with Ordinox without even a wallet, and we offer all sorts of different options. You can use your Telegram Ton wallet. You can use your MetaMask on EVM. We also are going to support social login going forward. So you can absolutely come into Ordinox without a wallet and sort of trade. That's number one. And the number two is the experience sort of, the degen traders who want to sort of move quick without having to bridge, without having to do any of the other, multi-step process which you have to go through today. So let's say you want to move capital across different chains and sort of quickly trade between different tokens, have different strategies for different tokens, set different stop losses, you can automate your entire experience, and sort of have sort of a Binance-like experience, but the entire technology stack in the background is completely transparent, decentralized, and auditable. So it's a complete decentralized Binance sort of experience for you, and there's no limitation in terms of how you can move, how much capital you can move, because we don't have liquidity pools, we don't have assets of our own. We use the assets or the liquidity on these independent chains directly. So you're basically not even there's no sort of dearth of shallow liquidity, no issues with that as well.
I think it's interesting because the first time we met, what was it, beginning of this year, you guys were focusing kind of exclusively on ordinals, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And you're now kind of expanding and bringing this to a broader set of assets. But how do you see like the activity in the Bitcoin space, maybe? Because we're talking about different chains and different assets and kind of moving this, but how do you see what is happening in the Bitcoin space with runes and the other type of assets?
Yeah, absolutely. So a bit of background, right? So we started off focused on ordinals and runes, and basically the same exact technology I just explained, but really built for EVM assets and Bitcoin assets specifically, right? So now what that led us to build was the entire stack which we have today, which is capable of not just these two things, but also any other chain for that matter, which involves ECDSA. So that's one of the reasons we expanded out to support all these different chains. And if you can go on to talk a little bit about our numbers as well, we just crossed about 3 million transactions on our chain and our testnet, and we have close to 40,000 daily active users as well. So we have a very strong representation in Indonesia. I think big shout out to them. We also have a representation in multiple other Southeast Asian countries, and going forward, sort of that's our the plan is to sort of make it as close to a centralized exchange as possible from a user experience perspective. Now, coming to your question of how runes and ordinals is, so we absolutely sort of still support Bitcoin assets. So as I mentioned, Bitcoin is also one of our supported chains, and runes and BRC20s are the two main players in that. And going forward, right, we have seen varied activity. So of course, in the beginning of the year, the activity was crazy, until up till the halvening, especially BRC20 activity was through the roof. And now runes, every other day you have a different rune sort of taking that cycle up and down, playing the meme coin narrative. So we're just waiting for the time when the Bitcoin super cycle comes back and we have all the activity back into Bitcoin, because we completely support Bitcoin assets as well. So Ordinals can effectively be a place where people who are not aware of ordinals, people who don't want to care about, let's say, having Unisat indexing, that there's having to worry about all these things, but also you don't have all the tokens listed on centralized exchanges, right? So you have a lot of these meme coins, all of these runes, a lot of these runes which are not listed. You can use Ordinals as a platform to come and trade these tokens, and you can effectively get exposure to all these tokens without really having to go through the whole listing process, the whole NFT trading process with Ordinals itself. So Bitcoin is still one of our core tenants, and we absolutely plan to support that in the future.
I love just the broad vision, like just how much you guys are doing, and the fact that it sounds one of the keys I'm picking up from you is that UX is important. Like meet the user where they are, be on a Telegram wallet, a social login, all of that stuff. Don't require them to have to take an extra step to onboard onto Ordinox. Do you guys so focus on Southeast Asia? You said it's been kind of like your core demographic now. What does your expansion plans look like?
Yeah, so currently, I mean, you got it right. We have a ruthless focus on the user experience, and that's how we plan to keep it. So right now we have a very strong presence in Southeast Asia, and going forward, we have a few sort of key partnerships which are coming up, which will help sort of open doors to let's say Europe and the US as well. But like one interesting challenge which we have with our platform is effectively that we sort of mimic a lot of the features which centralized exchanges offer. So it's not just limited to swaps, but we also have staking, lending, borrowing, everything coming up as well. So you can do everything you can do on Binance, but with a completely auditable chain in the background. And we have to sort of make sure we are legally protected as well when we open up doors to a lot of the US and the Europe audience. So that is one thing which we are making sure we have right before we sort of expand over there.
Love it.
So tell us where can people learn more about what you're doing and learn more about how you guys are using Chain Fusion.
Absolutely. So today, I think we'll be putting up a thread which talks about our integration with Chain Fusion and how Chain Fusion is basically a strong, one of the core pillars of Audinox itself as a technology. And you can find us at Audinox Labs on Twitter and audinox.xyz on the internet. So feel free to sort of join our Discord as well. We have a very vibrant community. We are very welcoming, and it's a huge family out there. Super happy to take you guys on, take your feedback as well.
Love it.
Welcome to the ecosystem, sir. And for everyone who is listening, let's give them a warm welcome inside our ecosystem. So give them some love over Twitter and read more about what them and all the others are doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Real strong community. And actually, so just one last question. In terms of, so you guys are testnet now, right? Correct. Plans on going to production?
So we have sort of a hard deadline, which we have set mid-February. We want to sort of TG and go live on the mainnet. And it'll be an eventual upgrade. So what we have, I think early next year, we'll have a mainnet beta, which is basically our testnet being upgraded. And then we'll go full mainnet mid-February. That's what we are doing.
Okay. Love it. Ashwin, you guys are doing awesome work. So glad to hear it.
Absolutely, and a big shout out to Chain Fusion as well. I think it's a turnkey technology which is really enabling a lot of the stuff which would normally end up being unwantedly complicated. So you see a lot of these layer 2s, a lot of these chains which just use multi-sigs in the background, which are absolutely not secure, and or they build their own TSS sort of system, which ends up being hacked eventually. I compare that to what Chain Fusion offers. It's a very big it's a very big improvement for anyone who's building in the space. So thank you so much for that as well.
Yeah, love to hear it. Glad it's useful.
Absolutely, more than useful. Yeah.
Super excited to have you inside our ecosystem, guys.
Yeah,
absolutely. Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Ashwin, and everyone check out Audinox.
Thank you.
All right,
so I think that's the end.
Brings us to the end. We appreciate everyone tuning in. I know we've gotten over 5,000 views live, and I'm sure those numbers will continue to tick up as the days go on. Keep the conversation going on X and on YouTube. I know Radu and I will look through the comments and respond to any questions you guys may have later on. Radu, do you want to land this plane for us?
Yeah, I mean, thank you very much to all the projects that joined us. Thank you very much to everyone that joined us and listened to us. You can please have a look at the Chain Fusion ecosystem report to see the cool things that are happening, and of course show some love to all the projects that presented today. And yeah, hopefully I'll see everyone in the near future to the next ecosystem live session. And thank you very much to you, Kyle, for hosting us.
This was a lot of fun. This is what I love, is just to hear from the developers what they're building, the cool products that are coming to the market. Q1, you heard it throughout the call, every single project, Q4 2024, Q1 2025, a lot of things coming up. So stay tuned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.